end is near, and so I face the final curtain. My friend, say clear, stand my case, of which I'm certain. I've lived let us fool. I've traveled each and every highway, and more, much more than this. I did it my way. Regrets, I've had a few, but then again, too few to mention. I did what I had to do and saw it through without exemption. I planned each charted course, each careful step along the byway, and more, much more than this. I did it my way. Yes, there were times, I'm sure you knew, when I bit off more than I could chew, but through it all, while there was doubt, I ate it out and spit it out. I faced it all, and I stood tall and did it my way.
So I know how he feels when you don't get a chance to vocalize completely, right? Right? That's great. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Come on over. What are you playing for me? See. Let me see. Yeah, leave that up. Okay. Really good. Really good tone. And of course, all of this just, an opinion from experience. Jazz performing is an interesting thing. It's not quite narrative like an opera or Broadway, but it's definitely storytelling, right? Never mistake, any song is a story. Every song is a story. If you give in to singing a song because you're trying to impress vocally, then you're doing it for the wrong reason, right? You're singing for the wrong reason. It always has to start from inside. So don't ever worry about cracking a note, or right. That's the secondary thing. It's the story you're trying to tell. Tell me in your words, not the lyrics. It's important that we understand, but never really don't sing the lyrics more so than singing your feeling, your subtext, your experience, your heartbreak, your joys, your accomplishments, your failures, the things that connect to you. So when you think of this song, to do it your way, but the song in general, how would you describe what this song means to you?
To be honest,
Go ahead, I'm going to grab the lyrics while you're talking, while you're answering. And it's okay to say, I don't know. I don't know.
I'm 19, right? But
Yeah.
and I did not go through all the things that he said
Yeah,
in the
say
song.
it.
But
Exactly.
then I sing this song because I was watching the Elvis Presley this song
Mhm.
on the YouTube, and somebody make it like when he died, right?
Yeah,
And then
yeah.
while he's sending to do something,
Absolutely.
and then he put his song into that video.
Well,
And I just-
he brought up a good point that, I don't have experience with this kind of heartbreak, with this kind of loss. Well, as actors, we always face a part or a role that we aren't connected to. Maybe in a movie you would play a murderer, I don't know. And hopefully none of us are murderers in here, right? So how does an actor go about approaching a lyric or a scene or a film scene when it's not really something we've experienced? And that's where sort of your imagination can come in and your subtext. When you hear things like, and now the end is near and I face that final curtain. And my friend, I'll say it clear and I'll state my case. I'm certain that I've lived a life that's full and I've traveled each and every highway, but more than this, I did it my way. So obviously this is a person that's had a long life, had some regrets along the way, had some things that were good and bad. I'm sure you can imagine what that would be like.
Yeah.
You're 18?
19.
19, so I'm sure you've maybe done some things or said some things in your 19 years that you wish you hadn't said or done, right? So try to see if that can, when you're singing, that you can see that in your eyes. When I watch you sing, it's beautiful, but I'm not sure I see the life of the words and connecting. I think jazz is amazing to watch because they're so connected to their audience, because it's probably one of the few musical genres that you can look at an audience member and sing to an audience, right? And connect. Broadway is the fourth wall, and you have to keep that illusion. Opera is an illusion. Well, pop music is like that too, right? Rock and roll and pop, they connect with the audience. But pop is a little more light. There's not really a story. He broke up with me, she broke up with that kind of stuff. But this is deeper, right? This is deeper. And if you don't have a specific connection to it, then imagine what it would be like. Imagine what it's going to be like from 20 years from now that you didn't take the right interviews, you didn't listen to people who suggested to you what you should do, you wasted this degree, you wasted your training, and you're doing nothing with your life. How would that feel? Yeah, it would feel. But you also don't want to sing this entire. Here's the tricky part of My Way. This song does not sound happy at all, does it? From the very beginning, right? And now the end is near. It's right from the beginning, right? And I told my class this last week, and I tell my students all the time, and hopefully this will translate. Don't give away the secret of the song at the beginning. You have nowhere to go. If you are so depressed and so heartbroken and giving up on, and now you have nowhere to go, right? Be a little more, now the end is near. You're thinking about it. And so I face that final curtain. My friends, I'll say it clear. I'll state my case, of which I'm certain. So it's not, So you have some, because I like how you started to build in the middle, right? And then just talk to me. Regrets, I've had a few, but then again, too few to mention, right? I think the great jazz singers, it's almost like they're talking to you when they're singing, right? Frank Sinatra was brilliant. Tony Bennett, amazing. And then you can sort of find the musical, then it sort of takes over vocal, right? So let's just do that first, and then we'll talk about some cool vocal things that's happening a little bit right here, a little bit of tension right there. And don't worry about it being warmed up, who cares, right? Who cares? So, where's your mic? Yeah, grab the mic. That's the beauty of jazz and pop. is that you can use the magic of the microphone to change the sound and the way it's received.
Do it again.
Yeah, right from the top.
Wait.
Right from the top. Okay? Yeah, just talk to us at first. Don't at the very beginning. That's not the right song. That's okay. Put your seat backs and trays in their upright positions and lock it. Okay. Whenever you're ready.
And now the end is near.
So the voice sounds good.
And
Try not to be. Yeah, that face there is good. Now, don't talk to them first. Talk to yourself first. But don't also be careful of hiding from the audience, depending on the mood. Yeah. Okay. Now think about it. Think about your whole life. The end is near, so I face the final curtain. My friends, I'll say it clear. Right. Be a little more thinking. See every one of those moments in your life. You heard my story, right? That's with all the good stuff that happened, not all of the stuff that happened, right? But think it through, see it. Okay, go ahead.
And now the end is near, and so I face the final curtain.
My friend.
Friend, I'll say it clear. I'll state my case, of which I'm certain.
I like what you're doing. It sounds like it's kind of hard to talk about. You get that? It's almost like it's hard for him to talk about this. If you've ever spoken to someone about things, your life, like you're disappointed with something you've done, do you just say, "Hey, I failed my test"? No. You go, "Man, I failed my test," or "I really said something that I regret to my girlfriend," or "I wrecked my car." Nobody goes, "I wrecked my car," right? So I like what he's doing. It's hard for him to say these things at first, which gives us somewhere to go, right? We don't want all the way from the beginning. So he's lightened up a little bit, and he's thinking it's hard to talk about. And then it's going to get a little easier to talk about because it's painful, and you have to let it out. So wherever you were, go from there. Wherever that spot was. My friend.
I'll say it clear. I'll state my case,
Hard to say.
of which I'm certain. I've lived a lot of school.
A life that's full,
I've traveled each and every highway.
See if you can get that one vowel. We're going to talk about that technique tonight. Highway. Highway. Make it come right here forward. Highway. Instead of highway. Highway.
Highway and much more than this. I did it my way.
Now, for the first time in the song, there is a statement of assurance, right? Oh, regret, I don't know, I'm thinking, but I did it my way. And you say that several times, right? How many times? I don't know. 2 times. So they need to sound a little different, right?
Oh.
Do you think you're confident? You're pretty confident when you say, "And I did it my way." There's no other way to say that, right? So as you're coming through, but more than this, I did it my way. And then the chapter changes, doesn't it? Something changes. What happens now? Regrets, I've had a few. Don't be so upset about it. Everyone has regrets, right? Yes? But then again, too few to mention. That's pretty good. I've had regrets, but they're too few to mention. That's better than me. I did what I had to do and saw it through without exemption. And maybe it's not as slow, possibly. Maybe it edges forward just a tiny bit. Okay, so try this new section. Just go from but more, much more than this.
And more, much more than this. I did it my way.
Let's do that one phrase. I did it my way. With almost for the first time, sort of I'm okay with that.
Okay.
I'm okay with that. So you don't go, I did it my way. There's a gas. I did it my way. Go that last little line. But more, much more than this.
But more, much more than this. I did it my way.
New chapter.
Regrets, I've had a few,
Maybe a tiny bit faster.
but then again, too few to mention. I
It's a little
did
lighter. It's a little lighter.
what I had to do and saw it through without
Good.
exception.
Now, can you do this entire paragraph, right? All of that, regrets, I've had a few of it, and make me longer phrases.
Make it long.
Short phrases are for the I don't know what I want to say. I'm afraid to say this to myself. I'm not sure. Those are the unsure. But longer phrases. Regrets, I've had a few, but then again, too few to mention. A little bit longer phrases. Try some longer phrases because it's starting to the song. The phrasing sort of da-dum, da-dee-da-dum, da-dee-da-dum, da-dee-da-dum. And so I would find some longer phrases now. Go. Regrets.
Regrets, I've had a few,
Now this whole phrase.
but then again, too few to mention. I did what I had to
A little
do
lighter, keep going.
and saw it through without exemption. I planned each charted course, each careful step along the byway. And
Yeah, what I'd love for you to do musically too. Show me that where it is. Where's that spot we were just in?
Ooh, that's so tiny.
Where's it here? See. I've had a few. But then again, where are we? But then again, few to mention.
what I had to do and saw it through without exception. I planned each charted course, each careful step along the byway and more.
So right there, you got to get to that spot. Regrets go all the way to there.
Oh,
Regrets, blah, 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 byway.
Oh.
One thought. Regrets, I've had a few, but then again, too few to mention. I did what I had to do, and I saw it through without exemption. I planned each charted course, each careful step along the byway. More. Much more than this.
Start getting good.
Yeah, and then you're a little more confident, right? I did it my way. I did it my way. And now you listen to me because I'm taking it up, right? Then you get bigger. Okay, so let's move forward on that. Regrets.
regrets, I've had a few, but then again, too few to mention. I did what I had to do through without exception.
And move forward.
I planned each charted course, each careful step along the byway.
So, what I want to say is, these songs, when you listen, I get ADD sometimes. Do y'all have ADD here too? Make every song your own, right? It's great to listen to our favorite artists and go, oh, I love that song. Make it your own. So when you get to that spot, I plan each charted course, each careful step along the byway. You're setting up for something much more than I did it my way. Right? Then you have somewhere to go. That makes sense? So let's go from regrets. Regrets, one more time. And then we'll be good.
Regrets, I've had a few, but then again, too few to mention. I did what I had to do, and saw it through without exemption. And each charted course, each careful step along the byway, and more, much more than this, I did it more.
What's that called?
My way. Yes, there were times,
Now you're getting your voice out.
I'm sure you knew, when I bit off more than I could chew, but through it all, well, there was doubt. I ended up.
Look at that. Don't you laugh. It happens to all of us, right? So, what's happening most likely is getting a little tight right here, right? And that tension is moving up into here. So, when you get to this phrase, I want you to take a deep breath here in your ribs. So breathe in, kind of sideways, front ways, and just I want you to suspend that air for a second, all right? In fact, we can all do this. Stand up. Stand. Stand. So, put your hands right here on your ribs. Relax. Blow all the air out and feel where your rib cage is when it's relaxed. So just blow the air out. That dropped position, right? That's a very natural dropped position of the rib cage. It doesn't matter what style of music you're singing in, if you don't have a relaxed and yet supported air system, it'll put strain on the vocal folds. You'll end up rising up and putting the force of your sound here. It doesn't matter if you sing loud in pop music or loud in rock music or loud in jazz. If we squeeze the rib, if you squeeze, it's going to put tension. And that's kind of maybe what's happening a little bit. So now I want you to just breathe. Not only breathe this way, but feel your whole body just expand a little bit. It doesn't have to be a gigantic breath. So just breathe in. Feel your rib cage sort of lift and separate a tiny bit. And then just let that air float in your body with an open throat. And then let it out. Breathe in again. Open throat. Don't let the air go. Now let the air go. Now, the trick, it's really subtle, is try to maintain the air inside of your instrument a little more. he's pushing a little too much air through the instrument on those. What is the phrase that's doing that to you? What phrase is doing that to you?
Oh, I ate it up.
I ate it all. Well, up is a terrible vowel, isn't it? Up. Okay? So what you want to do is you want to breathe in. And then as you're singing, try to maintain that sensation there. And it's not like really here, it's just a little bit. So go back a little bit in the phrase. Go back a little bit in the phrase. Yes, that was not going on to, but through it all. Is that what's happening on through it all?
Yeah. Maybe there.
Yeah, sort of. Let's say, yes, there were times. Yeah, and if you don't mind, can I okay, breathe in.
Maybe it's going to be.
Yeah, for a moment, just hold on to it, right? So breathe in for me. Hold on, just relax. And always relax here. Don't get tight right here, okay? The support from any singer comes from the lower abdominal area, just much, much lower, not here. If you're tight right here, your diaphragm will be tight, right? So breathe in, just let me feel you, breathe in. Yes, there were. And I want you to suspend that breath just for a moment and then begin the phrase. So breathe in, try to relax up here. Yes, there were times I sure you knew. Try to maintain a little bit more of that six-pack. Ready? And breathe in and go.
Yes, there were times I truly knew.
Support more than I can chew. But through it all,
Well, that was doubt. I did doubt and spit it out. I faced it all, and I stood tall.
it's a little better, it's a little more calm. A little more calm. The second thing I was going to say was a lot of times we tend to belt too far out. You know what belting is? Yeah. You got a wonderful mic right in front of you.
So just like a shout at it.
Yeah, don't shout it because it's there. That's your friend, man. That's your pal. So if you keep that air in you a little bit more, right? You keep the air support in you. I ate it up instead of I ate it up and squeezing. Squeeze up, right? I ate it up and spit it out, right? You keep that bite. So go back to it. Yes, there were times.
Especially the position being
Yeah, you know the top of your mouth, right? The roof of your mouth. Right there. Send that sound in air right there. Yeah. Right. And we'll move to the next person. It's coming up.
Yes, there were times I'm sure you knew.
Use it.
When I bit off all that I could chew, but through it all, well, there was doubt. I ate it out and spit it out.
Use a little more. And spit it out. And spit it out.
And spit it out.
Yeah. And spit it out.
And spit it out.
And I stood tall and did it my way.
Good. Yes. Next victim.